And welcome to Fantasy Football G. Game Week 21 is almost over, and Game Week 22 is just on the horizon. So we already have to look at our transfer targets for Game Week 22. We'll also take a look at how my team has done in Game Week 21, and then see who are the hot picks for Game Week 22 transfers. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys. Now we are gonna do things a lot more differently today. I know you guys are not used to this type of setup, but this is what happens when you have to produce content quick with the fast turnaround in uh, game weeks coming around. So yeah, this is how I've done in my game week 22. Really great. Got a green arrow. Honestly, amazing. Almost pretty much doubled my rank. But we've got two more games left tonight with Man United and Southampton and Brighton versus Ipswich. So a lot can still happen, but I'm sure my green arrow is very much concrete. So very happy. I mean, yeah, I wish Arsenal got a clean sheet. But they just continue to disappoint. But I'm just happy about the win. That's all, especially after the knockout there. Munoz grabbing his clean sheet, and Robinson really coming through for us as well with his 2 assists. Really unhappy that Gabriel didn't get the assist. Kind of hoping before the game week ends that they actually give him the assist, maybe with even a bonus of some sort. But you never know. We'll see. We'll see what happens when the game week closes. And then, Palmer with the captain there. Mo Salah captain is sorry, which was actually the majority of this game week. Strange, to be honest. But I think there's a very huge percentage of people who are not engaged managers like you guys that really watch us content creators and stuff. So I think that's where the majority is coming from. But I think a lot of the engaged managers did captain either Palmer or Isak. I think more Isak than Palmer, and he got a big return himself. So everybody really returning in my team, along with Rogers, Watkins, Wood, and Isak, besides Mosala, Gabriel, and Rhea. So really happy with that. I guess I benched the right people. There isn't much of a difference I could have had. So I'm happy with the team. But yeah, this is not about my team selection as well. So we're not going to look at that. We are going to take a look at who I believe are the hot players for this next game week. So let's start with the first fixture there with Newcastle versus Bournemouth. I think if you're still looking for a defender, you can still look at Hall. He's been in great form, of course. For me, I think with Shaw being out, there's still the question as to like whether or not he's going to be the starting player or not. If you want to go cheaper, then I think Burn is definitely a player that you can definitely go on. Let me just start with the defense there for you guys. Sorry about that. I think Burn is definitely someone you can go on. He's at 4.4, low owned as well. A very nice differential for you. I think he's still got also aerial threat whenever there's corners there. So I think he's definitely a solid end when it comes to the defense. It might mean that Newcastle might have to change a bit of how they play if they do end up deciding to bench Hall and go with Burn, Fabian Shaw, and Botman in the defense. They might just decide to actually bench Livramento and still play Hall. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think for me, a safe pick if you're just looking to go into that Newcastle defense for this game. And this is if you're still looking to go into that Newcastle defense. I think Dan Burn is a safe bet. But the way that Hall is playing, I really don't see them benching. So if you want to be safe, then I would go with Dan Burn. In the midfield, I think with Newcastle, you can definitely still go with Gordon. I think Gordon and sorry guys, so sorry. It's maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe next time I should actually just have have it all prepared. But Gordon and Murphy, Jacob Murphy, another guy who's been performing well, did blank this time. Had an assist in the previous game, but I think still being in that front three, he's a very nice differential. And I'm really trying to pick out the differentials for you guys because I think there's a lot of people who are still trying to gain rank. It's just kind of hard going against players just like Gordon when they've actually been so good. And I mean, you look at this, goal, assist, goal. It's really hard. I think if you've got the budget, definitely go for him. Yeah, I mean, it's like not going for Isak. I think if you got the budget, definitely go for him. You don't want to be going against him if you don't have him, unless you know you've got a very good midfield there. From the Bournemouth side, I think this isn't a fixture that I'd be picking anybody from Bournemouth for. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't be looking at any players there. I mean, Semenyo is somebody worth mentioning because of the injuries to the front line. So he's definitely playing there. He got his goal. I just don't feel like this is a fixture that you could be playing a Bournemouth asset in anyway, to be honest. Newcastle's defense is very good, it's very strong. Yeah, so I would stay away from Bournemouth in all actual fact. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Then the next fixture you got is Liverpool there with Brentford, sorry. I think the main debate here is more on the Liverpool strike force, because we all know that we're all trying to actually build ourselves up in the team up towards the double game week in game week 24. So the question now is, do we bring in Cody Gakpo or not? I think he's a very nice differential, probably somebody that you could pick to go up against Gordon if that's what you're trying to do as well. I think that's a great idea. He is cheaper as well at 7.4. There is still the question as to whether or not is he a solid player in terms of rotation as well. Look, all I want to say is I think the minutes speak for themselves. He's been playing a whole lot of minutes, and in the minutes that he's been playing and he's been performing, yeah, sure, he blanked against Nottingham Forest, but it's Nottingham Forest, a very good defense. He's got Brentford away, which we know the defense isn't necessarily all that good, and then he's got Ipswich at home, and then he's got the double as well, and then he's got Wolves. I think if anything, we should be looking more at a Liverpool attack rather than a defense. I think the thing to do here is to, if you've got Luis Diaz, don't sell, just keep. If you've got Gakpo, don't sell, just keep. And I think don't necessarily move in for Diogo Jota, because I think that's the player there, as much as we want him, whose minutes per 90, whose goal ratio in the minutes per 90 is really good. I think that he's more of the riskier pick now, only because that Gakpo and Luis Diaz have been in the run and have been performing as well. So Diogo Jota will get his run, but it's just, you have to wait and see what it feels like. I just feel like the person who's more in the front line right now is Cody Gakpo. From the Brentford side, right now it's not the time to really look at them. They've got not really the most amazing fixtures in the sense that they're playing Liverpool right now. I think Brentford is fixtures turn in game week 23 which is the time, I'm just going to click on Flick in there, which is the time that you really want to bring them in. I mean, you can bring them in against Spurs, but against Crystal Palace in the next game week. Yeah, game week 23. Yeah, that's when's the best time to actually bring them in. But we all know how well they perform at home as well. So even though they're playing against Spurs, I think that's going to be a good game week for them as well. So I think there's nothing to worry about there in itself. Fulham versus Leicester. I think it's obvious there. I think we're going to bring you the transfer targets there. If you're looking for a cheap enabler, is definitely a Raul Jimenez. He blanked. I think that he's definitely going to be having his minutes there. I see Muniz is not flagged, which I'm not sure why. but maybe he actually is available. Yeah, he is. He played 5 minutes. I think Raul Jimenez will play on this one. Yeah, his form has been a lot much better. You can see there. So I think you can, if you're looking for an enabler, you can definitely still go for him. Um, I think for me, he's more of a cheap option, cheap striker options there. I wouldn't go for anybody else really in the team. I think a lot of us already have Robinson there, which is great. I think if you also want an enabler in the defense, then you can definitely go for a Castagna because Tete is injured, and there'll be a while until he comes back. So definitely, if you want somebody in the defense who's more of a cheapie, then yeah, you can go for a Castagna there. I think they still got their fixtures are still okay. They play Man United at home in the next game. I still trust them there, and then they actually turn at Game Week 24. So don't have the best of fixtures for a long time, but I think you can definitely bring them in. Bring Krillin is expecting um, that there might be a Game Week 25 double with Tottenham, um, pulling the game forward from Game Week 29 to Game Week 25. I think that is depending on how Tottenham does in Europe. So I think just keep an eye on that. I think that's another reason why a lot of people are saving transfers to see how a lot of the European and the Cup matches really affect the Premier League. So this game week is also another game week where if your team is good, guys, just keep your transfer. Honestly, that's the benefit of having a good bench, and yeah, the benching headaches really. So yeah, that's that from there. I think from West Ham, I did watch them as well. West Ham, Crystal Palace. I did watch West Ham. Good game of them. I think we just have to give them time. They definitely did perform a lot better. The issue is the players that we usually want from West Ham are actually injured, like your Jared Bowen there. Um, I'm not. Paqueta is in the front line there as well, but you're just not sure. I wouldn't even be sure of Kudus as well because I feel like there's just many other options there. Eze has been performing a lot better than Sa. I think he was the better option in all honesty, but Crystal Palace still have some good fixtures. So I think if you're still wanting to hop onto them, West Ham's fixture, because it's away for them, I think it's going to be a tougher. Um, yeah, I feel like West Ham is really strong at home, and with Potter back, I can definitely see how they're a lot stronger, but stronger to beat, but not to score against, because I could still see that they could concede, and I really have faith in Ismail Assar and Crystal Palace. But for me, if you're gonna go into a Palace midfielder between Sa and Eze, it's Eze. It's Eze. It's definitely Eze. So if you're looking for that, then I would go into there. Mateta is still another option, but like there's a cheaper, better option in Raul Jimenez. So yeah, that's what I would say. Cool. So that's that game there. The Aston Villa. I would stay away. I would stay away from the entire game. Watkins did come through for me. Rogers did come through for me as well. But I feel like Arsenal's going to concede. We all know that we are struggling to score from open goals. Kat, is there any player from either team that you say we should go for? Aston Villa does have some great fixtures coming up. I think everybody most likely has Rogers. Keep him. In my case, having a Watkins, I'm going to try and keep him through this game week. I was thinking of taking him out for somebody else, but I am also trying to keep my transfers and watching Everton at the same time to see if there's a better opportunity in bringing in other players there. So I think you can bring in Aston Villa players after this Arsenal game, in my opinion. So yeah. Then I think Everton and Spurs, I think keep watching Everton. Don't move on them just yet. From the game I watched with Aston Villa, let's just go to the team and I'll tell you who I picked out for me. with Moises' pick of the team. So in defense, Minkelenko's up there. I think Ashley Young was back, playing somewhat like a back four. But with Minkelenko bombing up, eventually Moyes did change it to a 3-5-2. Mikalenko's actually playing like a left wing back, so he's really up and down. He's putting in those crosses as well. So I think he is a good cheap option. With Ashley Young forming part of more that back three there. And then Pickford, of course, also a really good option. So definitely for me, he's definitely in my eyes. I think if you want to go for an aerial threat, Tarkowski is a good idea as well. But for the doubler, anything else than that, nah, I wouldn't go for it. In the midfield, is it McNeil? Was it? No, not McNeil. Dwight McNeil was not back. It was Harrison, wasn't it? Played. Yeah, it was Harrison. I feel like there wasn't much activity on that wing. I feel like for me, the Core was the one who was really playing well down the center alongside Calvert-Lewin when they were busy pressing. So I think for me, if you want to go for a cheap option in the midfield who does have some attacking threat, I think Decore does have some goal involvement in him. And I think that game with Liverpool is actually going to be a tougher game than people expect it to be. So I think Decore could actually sneak something. Does have some aerial threats. Got a good shot on him as well. So I think him in the midfield is a good option. Then in strike force, I really thought, not sure how to pronounce this, Ndiaye, yeah, I thought he was a midfield. So when I saw he was a forward, I was like, man, cheaper than Raul Jimenez. Very talented, but I don't feel like he's a good FPL pick. You know, he's the guy he's the pass before the goal, and very good in the eye test. You know, but I just don't see him really getting up in front there and being much of a threat. I mean, when you look at his record, he's only scored 3 goals. Yeah, he's only scored 3 goals, and he hasn't had any assists this season. So, yeah, it's so hard on who to pick, and this is exactly why I said I think you just have to watch. You know, David Moyes has confidence in Calvert-Lewin. He was making really great runs, holding up the ball really well. Just wasn't finishing, and I thought we would see Beto get more of an opportunity, but I guess we're not. So we'll see. I think we still have to keep an eye on him. Spurs, I don't think there's anything really much to say, but the fact that also keep an eye on them possibly having that double in game week 25 that Ben Crillon is predicting. A lot can still change, but just keep an eye on that. It is a prediction, and if that doesn't happen in game week 25, then that game will move definitely to game week 33. So it's just keeping an ear out for that. So yeah, Man United versus Brighton, still staying away from Man United. Brighton, wouldn't necessarily say that there's assets there that I want to have at the moment. Right now, I don't feel like they're in the best of form. João Pedro as well, we're not sure if he's going to play, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. I think moving on to Forest, I think it's very obvious, and we all want their defensive players. I think there you can definitely still go for an Aina, but I think if you also want to go for a differential there, then Neco Williams have really cemented himself really well. Of course, they're blank, but you can see there he's been playing 90 minutes for a while there. So I really don't think that even against the big games as well, I really don't think that Alex Moreno will be coming in anytime soon there. So I think he's a safe pick, 4.3 as well. Another cheap option for you if you want to go there and you can't afford Aina. Mikalenkovic is also a very nice option, has some good aerial threat. So yeah, I think those are some good options in the defense there. And then, of course, you have in the midfield Morgan Gibbs-White. I think Anthony Elanga is also a very good option there if you want to go a lot cheaper there as well. And then in the strike force, if you don't have him already, well, then you should. You really should. And that's, of course, Wood, who I believe will eventually climb up to 7.0. So check out price rises. Make sure you're keeping an eye on that and move on him when you need to. Man City and Ipswich. Man City, we thought they were coming back, but I think the Man City of old would have, they would have dealt with Brighton. But I think they're also somewhat their bogey team sometimes, like Spur. Let's just take a look at Erling Haaland, because he is Erling Haaland. Hasn't necessarily been scoring the way we really want him or expect him to. So I wouldn't really, think of trying to go differential here by any means. Still 30% own. I'm very surprised. Those who still hold him, I wouldn't even captain him. I just forget it. I think Ipswich have been playing very well recently and getting some results. I think it's going to be a very tough game for Man City. I think they'll win, but I don't think it's a game in which we can really depend City to just go and run over those players as well. Somebody who has been gaining up form there is Foden, returning 4 returns in the past 3 games. So that is somebody that who has sort of flown over the radar into our radars. I think for me it's one of those. Sorry, my phone. I think for me it's one of those situations where. Sorry, hold on. Sorry about that. Just rounding off really. So yeah, Phil Foden, I think just keep an eye out on him. I think it's one of those cases I was trying to say that it's like, okay, I don't think he's going to score. I don't think he's probably keep scoring. This is that time when Man City really does go on those runs where they're somewhat undefeated. So just keep an eye out on him. And he is a good differential, but he's just a lot of money. He's just a lot of money, to be honest. But I think it's just keeping an eye out on him. It wouldn't be surprising if he is one of those very influential players on that run. Then Chelsea versus Wolves. I think we still have the question of Jackson. Look, Jackson, stay out of it. I think he's not a player that we should be really still looking at. He hasn't been delivering at the levels that he should. I think there's other cheaper players that are delivering a lot better than he is as well. So I think I would exit Jackson if I were you, because 8.1 is a lot. Really a lot of money for any of us to really be playing with. So that's my thing on Jackson. I think you can go for, like I mentioned, a whole lot of different other strikers there as well. Midfield wise, there's still people who have Enzo and they want to keep him. Still on set pieces. I got it. This past game week, with Ahmad having better fixtures and stuff, but I would have kept Enzo, in my opinion. I still would have kept Enzo. I think, guys, a lot of us are really floppy, fine. He hasn't necessarily had he's been blanking, Cat. He's been blanking. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. I say that because I didn't have him, so I'm like, I was like, yeah, guys, keep him. Like, yeah, keep him. No, guys, you blanking like that, get rid of him. That was really my verdict with Sa as well. He had been blanking, hoping this really turns a stone. From the Wolves side, I think the question. Okay, let me not skip Colwell, who came off as well. He's not flagged, so we haven't necessarily heard anything yet from my side as well, but I would keep an eye out for him. But either way, Chelsea's defense isn't necessarily all the best right now, so it's not a team in which I'll be moving in defensively. Quite frankly, the only player I have from Chelsea right now is Palmer, and I would keep it like that if I were you guys, because I just feel like that's the only player who's really significantly doing anything for them. So yeah, no differentials I would even go for here in the Chelsea team. And then Cunha with Mateus Cunha. I think the fixtures have really turned. I think it's definitely a time in which we can exit. He came off the bench, didn't do much, really did try. He's always going to be that influential player. I just feel like the fixtures are really up against him, and it's not worth holding on to him. So I think while you've got that value on him, just let go of him. I think a lot of us got him when he was in around 6.6. So I'm sure you've made some money off of him, but you can drop him now and go for a lot cheaper options like the Raul Jimenez there. So yeah, that's my verdict when it comes to Cunha. Just not worth keeping right now. I think there's a lot better players than him. So yeah, but guys, you let me know. That is my video for the week. I hope you guys have had a good game in 21. Let me know if there's anybody I haven't mentioned which you have questions about. Ask me questions in the comment section. I really love that. But if you've loved the content, please hit that like button and also subscribe. Really would mean a lot. And if you guys are wanting some more content while you wait for my team selection, which will drop tomorrow, then check out these pieces of content here